Hi, this is Dawn from Ninja Money Crochet. Welcome back to Granny Squares. Today we're going to make this beautiful sunflower granny square. It's a little bit different than the previous granny squares that we were doing. However, it's not as complicated as it might look. It's basically your same 2 stitches with 2 additional concepts. One is the treble crochet and the other is a magic ring. I'm going to walk you through step by step and we'll make this beautiful granny square. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you will be notified whenever I upload a new video. But let's get into making this beautiful sunflower granny square. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using a size I or 5.5mm hook and worsted weight yarn. It doesn't matter what size hook you use or what size yarn, as long as your yarn and your hook match. To make the center of our sunflower, we're going to be using brown, and to start we need to make a magic ring. If you're unfamiliar with how to make a magic ring, I'll go over it very slowly so that you can learn how to. Hold your yarn in your left hand and place it over your first 2 fingers and hold it with your thumb. Wrap it around your hand to form an X over your 2 fingers. Insert your hook under the bottom string, grab the top string, pull up and turn. Grab the string again that's closest to your ring finger and chain 1. This secures the ring together. I'll show that to you again. Hold your yarn in your left hand, hold over your first 2 fingers and secure it with your thumb. Wrap it around your fingers and form an X. Insert your hook under the bottom string. Grab the yarn and twist and pull up. Grab the yarn again and chain 1. That secures the ring. Now, since we're going to be making double crochets, we're going to chain another chain. We're going to chain 2 more times so we have 3 chains. Now we're going to place 11 more double crochets into the ring. This first chain 3 is going to count as our first double crochet. So then we're going to place 11 double crochets into the ring. Oops, sorry about that. And continue with placing double crochets into the ring, counting your chain 1, you will have 12 double crochets. So include the chain 1 and then 11 double crochets, so 12 altogether. I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 1. We have 12 double crochets, and we're going to pull this tail to cinch up the ring. And we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3, the starting chain 3. To start round 2, we're going to chain up 3 and place a double crochet into the same stitch. Then we're going to place 2 double crochets into each stitch around. So please continue doing this until you get back to the beginning. I'm at the end of round 2. I have 24 double crochets. We're going to slip stitch into the top of the beginning chain 3. And we're going to fasten off. We need to weave in our ends, and then we're going to be ready to start the yellow petals. Or if you'd like to make a different color petal, you're more than welcome to do so too. Be right back to start the petals. To start the petals, we're going to be working in the front loops only. So here's our front loop, and here is our back loop. So insert your hook into the front loop, and slip stitch to fasten the yarn on. And then we're going to chain 4 and do a treble crochet. Now a treble crochet is you yarn over twice, insert into the stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. I'll show that to you again. Yarn over twice, insert into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Now once we have 2 treble crochets in our chain 4, we're going to pull up a little bit of a loop, take out our hook, find that 4th chain, and insert our hook into the 4th chain, grab that loop, and pull it back through that 4th chain. This first one is the most difficult one because we're working into that chain. Chain 1 to form our first petal. Now we're going to work into the front loop of the next stitch, and we're going to yarn over twice and do 3 treble crochets into the next stitch. That's 1, 2, 3. Again, pull up your loop, insert your hook into the first treble crochet that you made, grab that loop, and pull it back through. Sorry about that. And pull it back through, chain 1. And then you have your second petal made. Yarn over again twice and go into the next stitch, And we're going to put 3 treble crochets. So each petal consists of 3 treble crochets. And then we're going to pull up the loop, take our hook out, go back into that first treble that you made, and if you're not sure which stitch it is, all you do is count back. 1, 2, 3. insert your hook, grab that loop, and pull it back through. Chain one, and you're ready to go on again. Please continue this all the way around the center of the flower, and you should have 24 petals completed. I'll meet you back up at the end of this round. I'm at the end of the round, round 3. I have 24 petals, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of the first petal that we made. And we just got to find that stitch right here. There it is. And we're going to slip stitch to it. Bear with me just a second. Here we are. Chain one and pull our yarn through to fasten off. There we go. Now we're going to weave our ends in, and for the next round we're going to work with the green, and we're going to be working in the back loops behind the petals. So let's get these ends weaved in, and we'll come back and work in the back loops to work the background, or this part here, which would be the border. Okay, we're going to work in these back loops, so just fold down your petals and slip stitch into any one of these back loops. Chain 3 and place 2 more double crochets into that back loop. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, which is right there. I know it's a little difficult to see with this brown yarn, and we're going to place 3 double crochets into the next stitch, chain 1, and into the next, we're going to skip the next one, and into the next one we're going to treat that as if it was a corner. So we're going to start this as a corner, and we're going to place 1, 2 double crochets. But because we're going from a round motif and we want to make it into a square, we need to build up the corner, so we're going to place a treble crochet and then do a chain 3 and place another treble crochet and then 2 double crochets. So that will help build up the corner. Chain 1, skip the next stitch and go into the next and place 3 double crochets. Chain 1, skip the next one, and place 3 double crochets into the next. Get some more yarn out there. chain 1, and we're going to skip the next one and go into the next, and we're going to make another corner. So 2 double crochets, 1 treble crochet, chain 3, another treble crochet, and 2 double crochets. Again, that build up for the corner. Then chain 1. And this is where I fastened on, so we're going to have to kind of figure out where the skip and where the next one will be. So I believe it's going to be right here. And chain 1, and skip the next stitch and place 3 double crochets into the next. Chain 1, and now we're going to place another corner. So again, skip this stitch and go into the next and place the corner. Okay, I'm going to have you finish the last side and the last corner up by yourself, and I will meet up with you at the end of the round. Right, we're at the end of the round. We're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 to complete the round. It's a little tight on that top of that chain. Now if you take a look at this, smooth everything down, you'll see where your 4 corners are. And I know it looks a little bit wrinkly right now, but once we get the next round of green on, you'll really be able to see those corners will really pop out. So let's move on to the next round. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches and then into the next chain space. Then chain 3 and place 2 more double crochets into that chain space. This is going to be just like every other granny square from here on out. Chain 1 and move to the next chain space. And we're going to place 3 double crochets into that chain space. Chain 1. Now when we come to the corner, we're going to treat this just like we do any other corner on a granny square. We're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. We do not need to continue building out Only that first round did we need to we needed to build out. So we just work it like a regular granny square corner. Chain one and move to the next chain space. If you need to, while you're working, just fold your petals back so that you can see your work. Continue going around your granny square in pattern like you would for a regular granny square, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 2 on the border, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of that first chain 3. And again, my chain got a little tight. And fasten off, because we're going to change colors. I just wanted to show you how this really straightens back out again and starts looking very much like a square. Now it's still a little wavy, but if that can always be straightened out more if you block your square. So let's weave these ends in, and we'll move on to the cream color or the off-white color to finish up the granny square. Okay, we're going to fasten on with our cream. I'm going to start in the corner because I like to start in the corners when I can. So we're going to chain 3 and place 2 double crochets into the corner. I just think starting at the corner makes a cleaner finish and makes your edge look nicer. So we're going to make half the corner, chain 1, and move on to the next chain space. Just like we did with our previous granny squares, we'll finish that corner at the end. Chain 1 and move on to the next chain space. All of this is just like we did with our traditional square granny square. Nothing different than we did in our previous tutorials. And moving on to the next one. And we're at a corner. And again, same thing, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Okay, we're going to fasten on our yarn with a slip stitch and start with a chain 3. I like to start in the corner, so we're going to start our corner with a double crochet and another double crochet. So it's a chain 3, double crochet, chain 1, and move on to our next chain space with 3 double crochets. Chain 1 and 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. chain 1, and 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Again, this should be very familiar if you've watched my previous granny square tutorials or you are familiar with making granny squares. Chain 1 and move on to the next chain 1 space. Then we're going to come up to a corner and a chain 1, and just like the previous round, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets to complete the corner. Please continue all the way around to get back to the beginning where we'll finish this corner. I'm at the end of round 3 of the border. I place my 3 double crochets into the corner and chain 2. Now we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 to finish the corner. And then we can fasten off. You can see how it lays much nicer now that we have 3 rounds on the border. It lays much more square. Now if you feel that your square isn't laying flat enough, you can always block it. If it's buckling a little bit, maybe your hook was too small for your yarn, or your tension was a little bit tight, you might need to loosen up a little bit, but blocking it would definitely help with that too. So if you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of my tutorials. Thanks for watching, and happy crocheting!